Hello and welcome to our practice in this beautiful space, a brand new space that my neighbors built, and were so kind to let me utilize it for a yoga practice to share with you. So today's practice is going to be about focusing and settling the mind. Myself, and I'm sure most of you, sometimes we can have a difficulty with a very busy mind, and we can just get really wrapped up in what's going on in our mind, the reels we play, and the planning that's constantly going on in our little brain into the future. And so today's practice, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to start our practice with a sensory perception little exercise. And then as we move into our physical practice, we're going to be focusing on our drishtii, or your gaze, your focus, and to help draw the mind, or anchor the mind, and as well grounding literally through our mat and the solid surface beneath us. And then also through some repetitive movement that we move with the breath and staying connected to the breath. So those things will help to begin to consolidate the mind and our energy to center, so we're a little less scattered. And then we'll end with a meditation. So let's start by having a comfortable seat, either on a mat, a cushion, a block, or even lying on your back with your knees bent if that's more comfortable for you. And I'm going to ask you to start with your eyes open. We're going to start with our sense of sight and just letting your vision land slowly, one at a time, 5 different things that you can see with your eyes. And as your eyes rest upon something, just pause there. Bring all your mental awareness to what you're seeing, the color, the shape, the textures. And then slowly let your gaze shift to the second thing, whatever that is. And letting your mind stay focused on that one item. And then go ahead and shift to something else. Noticing color, keeping your eyes steady, your drishtii, your gaze on that one thing. And then go ahead and let your gaze shift. Let your eyes settle and notice what you're looking at. And one last item to look at. And then let your eyes float closed. We're going to bring our awareness to our sense of touch. And just touch. We're going to do 4 items for touch. So it might be your clothes, might be your skin, maybe your mat, your hair. Same as we did in the first exercise of just letting your mind settle to that sensation of whatever it is you are touching. And then move on to your second thing to touch. And then move on to number 3. One final item, object, surface to touch and notice. And then bringing your awareness to your next sense of hearing. And we're looking for 3 different things that you can tune into, that you can hear right now. Maybe it's the sound of heat running wherever you are. The sound of something distant. Maybe even the sound of your breath. And then we're going to bring our awareness to our sense of smell. And we're looking for 2 different things that you can sense with your sense of smell. in a beautiful space with brand new fresh wood, which smells amazing. Maybe you even smell your own skin. And lastly, we'll tune into the sense of taste. And maybe that's as simple as just licking your lips and tasting whatever that taste is, or even the taste of your own saliva in this moment. And now we're going to tune into the breath. So bringing your hands to sense or feel the breath in your belly here. As you inhale, soften your belly so your belly can expand. And as you exhale, feel your belly draw away from your hands towards your spine. Let's just do 3 breaths like this. And beginning to connect with your ujjayi breath, creating that small restriction in the back of your throat to slow the breath down. One more round of breath like this. And then you can float your eyes open. We're going to come onto hands and knees. So you can rock forward onto your hands and knees for cat-cow. And we were sitting there for a little while, so if you want to stretch, let's do this first. Let's stretch the left leg straight out behind you. Press your toes down into the mat and just rock back and forth. That rhythmic motion of the body and your breath is your awareness here. And then draw that knee in. Let's do the same on the right. So press into the right toes and just gently rock back and forth, starting to wake up the legs and the feet. And then let's start with our cat-cow, so spreading the fingers wide. And as you inhale, lift your gaze slightly. And as you exhale, curl the belly in. Let your gaze move towards your knees or even your belly button. And then moving slowly and rhythmically with your breath. Being aware of your breath, being aware of your gaze, your drishtii, through both movements. Let's do one more full round like that. And maybe you even rock back a little bit on this next breath. And take one more inhale. And this time as we exhale, moving into child's pose. And feeling into the sensation of the hips. The act of bringing the forehead down to a block or to your mat helps to bring awareness to the forehead and begin to ground the mind. And then we're going to move in and out. As you inhale, rise up into cow pose. And as you exhale, move into child's pose. And inhale, cow. Open the front body. And exhale, child's pose. Let's do one more round like that. Just finding your breath and the rhythm of the movements of the body. And as we inhale, we're going to curl our toes under and exhale into downward facing dog. So for these first couple of breaths, see if you can find stillness in your down dog. For 3 breaths. And really feel into the hands and into the feet as though you're trying to stick all 4 corners of your mat down, connecting to the floor. And then we're going to move in and out of down dog and plank pose, kind of rocking from one position to the other, just like we did in child's pose and cow pose. So as you inhale, rock forward to plank pose. And then as you exhale, rock back into downward facing dog. 2 more like that. Inhale, the rhythm of your breath. Let your gaze softly land just at the top of your mat. And exhale back. Let your gaze look between your legs
and see what you see out behind you. Inhale, gaze to the top of the mat. Exhale, look between your knees. Take one more inhale here, and as we exhale, walking to the top of your mat into forward fold. Let the top of your head spill down, as though we're allowing all the noise of the brain to spill out and down into the earth. Let's have 2 more breaths here. And then take an inhale, slide your hands up your shins, lengthen from your sit bones to your crown. And as we exhale, we're going to sit down in chair pose. And hands can just come to your hips here. Taking an inhale in chair, and then exhale, fold forward, release your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, sit down in chair. Maybe you inhale and reach up this time. And then the exhale, we release into our forward fold. Let's do 1 more round like that. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, sit down in chair. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, fold. This time as we inhale, halfway lift. The belly draws in, we exhale, press into all 4 corners of your feet and rise up, coming all the way up this time. And draw into your heart center. So take a moment in mountain pose, let your feet be hip width apart here. Hands at your heart center and bring your gaze to your fingertips. And as you gaze at your fingertips, you may notice that all the things you can see in your periphery that are just out of focus a little bit. But they're still there. You can still notice them, but let them fall out of focus. And then let's release the hands. We're going to do some half sun salutations. So moving with our breath and connecting to that rhythmic movement. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, halfway lift, the heart floats up. Exhale, we fold, belly draws in. And inhale, we rise up, circle wide, reach high. Look up to the sky with your gaze. And let's continue. Exhale, fold. We're going to do 3 more like this. Inhale, lift halfway, lengthen. Exhale, draw the belly in, fold. Inhale, press into your strong feet and rise up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, bow down, press into the feet. Inhale, rise up. Last one. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Press into those feet. Inhale, rise. Beautiful. We're going to do 1 more, but add some lunges onto it. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Lengthen. Exhale, fold. This time stepping back with your right foot coming into a lunge. So starting with that back knee lifted as we lengthen through the crown and through the back heel. And then simply drop the back knee. You can stay here or you can reach up to the sky here. Exhale, the hands come down. Inhale, lift the back knee. And step forward. We're still doing the half sun salutations here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, stepping with the left foot. So same thing on our second side, just beginning to open the body. Press through that back heel as you lengthen through your crown. Your gaze just past the top of your mat. Exhale, drop the back knee. And inhale, you can have hands to your knee or reach up to the sky. Lengthen up, lift your gaze. But keep your gaze steady even though it's lifted. Exhale, hands come down. Lift the back knee. This time we'll step back into downward facing dog. Inhale, we come forward to plank pose, and your plank might have your knees down or it might be knees up. We're going to lower on an exhale all the way down to the mat. The inhale, we lift the gaze just past the top of your mat into cobra. Exhale, come down. 2 more times like that. Moving with the rhythm of the breath. Inhale, soft gaze. Exhale, release. Forehead touches. Inhale, last one. And exhale, let your forehead ground down on your mat. Take an inhale here. Exhale back, child's pose. We're just getting warmed up here. Inhale, rise up, tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take one nice deep breath here. As you exhale, feel into both hands and both feet. Really attune into that solid surface of your mat and the floor beneath you. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, you can walk, step, or float to the top of your mat. Inhale to lengthen from sit bones to crown. Exhale, we bow. And inhale, we rise. And draw into your heart center. Let's take a pause here in mountain pose, gazing at your fingertips again. Notice how as you focus on those fingertips, everything else falls out of focus. One more breath here. And we can release the hands. We're going to do a couple more sun salutations with lunges just to get the body warmed up. Inhale. Reach up, lift your gaze. Exhale, fold, gaze towards your knees. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, bow, step back with your right foot. So we're in a lunge here once again. Drop your knee. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, hands ground down, lifting the back knee. Step back, plank pose. Take an inhale in your plank. The exhale will lower down. Again, it can be knees down or knees up. You can move through chaturanga or go through half plank, lower all the way down. Inhale, float up, cobra. Might be baby cobra, or it might be all the way up cobra, or it might be upward facing dog. The exhale takes us back, downward facing dog. Your next inhale, let that right leg float up to the sky, leading with your inner thigh. And as you exhale, bend your knee, step it up between your hands. You can use that right hand to help it get up there. Your exhale, back knee drop. The inhale, lift the gaze, find a spot to gaze at. Your drishtii, soft eyes. Exhale, hand comes down. Inhale, lift the back knee. Step forward on the exhale. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, bow. Inhale to rise. Lift your gaze. Draw to your heart center. Gaze at your fingertips. Let everything else fall out of focus. Come back to the awareness of your breath. Let the hands drop. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen and lift the heart. Exhale, we step back with the left. Coming into our lunge. Drop the back knee. Inhale to reach up. Soft gaze. Exhale, hands come down. We lift the back knee, step back, plank pose. And again, we're moving through your choice of back bend and your choice of lowering down. Take an inhale in your plank. Exhale to lower. Inhale. Lift the heart, open the front body, reach through your legs. Exhale back. Downward facing dog. Your next inhale, float that right foot, leading with your inner thigh, three-legged dog. The exhale, we're stepping up between our hands. Take an inhale as you lengthen. The exhale, we drop the back knee. And inhale, we reach up. Soft gaze, lifted but not straining. Exhale, hands come down. Inhale, lift the back knee. Exhale, step forward. The inhale lifts the heart and lengthens the spine. The exhale, we bow, belly draws in. Inhale, circle wide, reach high, look up. Follow your fingers as you draw them into your heart center, gazing at your fingertips once again. Everything else softly falls out of focus. You can have your eyes closed here. 2 more breaths. Beginning to build steadiness into your practice with your breath and with your repetitive movements. Release your hands. Let's inhale, reach up. And exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back with your right foot, staying high up on your toes. We're kind of staying in that theme of our lunges, but we're going to keep adding on. Press strongly into both feet equally, and then slowly rise up. Crescent moon. I forgot to mention we're going to be working with balance a little bit. Not my strong suit, which probably makes it really good for me to teach it, because I will show you that it's okay to fall out of balance. It's about the act of trying to balance, not sticking it, that we're working with here today. Find a soft place to gaze, maybe not up at the ceiling, maybe just straight in front of you. And draw your hands to your heart center. Let's work with that gaze at our fingertips again. So still grounded into both feet. Your gaze is softly at your fingertips, and your breath is flowing. Take 1 more breath here. And use your exhale to bring hands down to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. This time we're just going to float the right leg to the sky, three-legged dog, leading with your inner thigh. Exhale, step it up between your hands. And we're going to rise into our crescent moon again. First ground down through your feet, and then rise up. Reach up to the sky. Find your drishtii, your place to gaze, and let everything else fall out of focus. Our mind needs something to anchor on. So we're anchoring through the feet, we're anchoring through the breath, and through your drishtii or your soft gaze. Bring your hands through your heart center, gaze at your fingertips. Take 1 more breath here. Release the hands down to the mat, step back, down dog. So I'm going to give you an option here, and I'm going to do this several times through class. You can come into child's pose here. You can rock forward to plank pose and take a flow, choosing your back bend and your style of plank. Or you can even stay in downward facing dog. If you're flowing, you exhale down, you inhale to your back bend, and exhaling back, down dog. Let's float the left leg to the sky in three-legged dog. And as you exhale, step it up between your hands. Same thing, we're coming into our lunge. We're going to keep adding layers to this crescent lunge as we move along. Find your drishtii, find your gaze, press your palms together, draw them to your heart, gaze at your fingertips. Begin to bring your awareness back into your breath and also into your feet. So we're going to make a transition here into a balance of warrior 3. So really press into both hands, and you can step that back foot up a little bit to get a shorter stance, And then begin to shift your weight forward, coming into warrior 3. And then bend your front knee. See how softly you can land your back foot down, back into your lunge. Let's release the hands. Intertwine your fingers, lift the heart. Find a spot to gaze, maybe a little higher than the horizon, but not up to the ceiling. As you inhale, lift the heart. Press the knuckles towards the ground, towards the floor. 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath. And then you can release the hands back down to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. We're going to move straight into our second side here. Float the right foot up, 3-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee, step it up between your hands. And you can have a bit of space, I should have said this sooner, between your right and your left foot for a little bit better balance. We're rising into our crescent moon. Start by reaching up. And then drawing to your heart center, gaze to your fingertips. Begin to bring your awareness into both feet, grounding down, pressing your palms together. And we're just going to slowly step the back foot up a little bit to have a little shorter stance. And then begin to shift forward into your warrior 3, second side. And then we're slowly going to bend the knee, softly place that foot down, reach up to the sky in our crescent moon. And release your hands behind your back. Lift the heart. Open the shoulders. 3 breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. 1 more breath. Soft gaze, steady gaze. And then release, hands come down. This time we're going to step forward into our forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale to bow, inhale to rise. And draw into your heart center. Gaze at your fingertips. Let everything else fall away. Find your steady breath. Find your feet ground on your mat. Awareness to the texture of your mat and your feet. And then release the hands. Hands come to your hips. Take an inhale. Let's exhale and bend the knees and just step back for warrior 1 with your right foot. So inhale to reach up to the sky. And again, find that drishtii. Let your gaze be soft. Let everything else in your periphery fall out of focus. As you steady the mind, anchor the mind in that gaze. Take 1 more breath. Draw your hands to your heart center. And we're going to open for warrior 2. So opening that foot back a little bit as well as a little more open. Float your arms up. Bring your gaze to that middle finger, to the fingernail on that middle finger. Ground through both feet. Strong legs, shoulder blades down your back. Take 1 more breath here. And then we're going to turn our gaze to the long side of our mat and bring your arms into eagle arms. So bringing your right arm underneath your left and wrapping around. If that doesn't work for your shoulders, simply grab opposite shoulders and lift the elbows. If you've got your hands in traditional eagle, you can even bring your left thumb to your forehead here. It's like grounding your forehead down in child's pose. Take 1 more breath. And then release the arms back into our traditional warrior 2.
Inhale, peaceful warrior. Make length and space. Look up to the sky and keep your gaze steady. Take one more breath. We're exhaling into side angle, so your front forearm can come to your knee as the back arm sweeps over and across. Now normally we look up to the sky here, which you can do, or for a little more grounding and steadiness, you can look down towards your front foot, but keep extending the top arm and rotating the right ribs up to the sky. Let's inhale, come back up, bend the front knee once again. Let's come down, downward facing dog. So I'm going to give you the option to flow here if you wish, or take a little break in child's pose for a little more grounding. Or you can stay and really bring awareness in your down dog to hands and feet. You choose how you want this practice to look or be for you today. And if you're in down dog, again, attune into both hands and both feet and the pressure that you're putting into the earth to allow you to rise back up. If you are in child's pose, bring your awareness into the forehead resting on your block or the floor. And then let's all meet in downward facing dog if you're not already there. Floating the right foot up for three-legged dog. We exhale and step it up between our hands for warrior one on our second side. So rising when you're steady through your feet, reaching up to the sky. Find your drishtii and have that gaze be lifted slightly, but not really over lifted, not over straining too high. Just like when we gaze at our fingertips, let everything else fall out of focus. Take one more breath here, lift up through the elbows. Exhale your hands through heart center, and we're opening for warrior two. So opening the back foot, spreading the arms wide. And again, finding that gaze on your middle fingernail. And notice how everything else just blurs out into your periphery. And then we're bringing our left arm underneath our right as we turn our gaze to the long side of our mat. And again, you have the options, grabbing opposite elbows, pressing the back of your hands together, or wrapping around with your right thumb to your forehead. Strong and grounded through both feet. Awareness to your breath. Shoulder blades slide down your back. Collarbones lift. Release back into your warrior two. Inhale, peaceful warrior. Nice opening in the right side body. And then as we exhale, side angle. So again, forearm can come to your knee. Back arm sweeps over and across. Normally we look up, but option to look at your foot to be more grounded. But don't let that roll the body closed. Keep the left ribs looking up to the sky. And you're just kind of gazing at your big toe. One more breath. And then inhale, rise up. Exhale, bend the front knee. Bring your hands down. And step back, downward facing dog. Let's just take one breath in our downward facing dog, and we're all going to come forward to our forward fold here. Stepping, walking, or floating. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, we bow. And inhale, we rise up. Reach up, look up, draw to your heart center. Take a moment to ground here once again. You can let your eyes float closed, or again, you can gaze at your fingertips, focusing and anchoring the mind through the drishtii. 2 more breaths here. And then release the hands. We're going to move into a little bit more balancing. And I wish these walls were closer as we move into balance. So let's inhale, reach to the sky. And as we exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And as we exhale, we're going to step back with our left foot this time. And we're going to stay high up on our toes and rise up into crescent moon. So coming back to the building the layers in our crescent moon here as we did before. Draw your hands to your heart center. Shift your gaze to your fingertips. Whoops. This doesn't bode well for the balance when I'm using my balance in crescent moon. And then we're going to shift forward into our warrior 3 again. We've done this a couple times already. So finding your warrior 3. And then we're going to bring our fingertips down to the mat. We're going to ground the right hand. So if you have a block, I forgot to mention this, you could have you're going to ground your left hand. If you have a block, you can bring your fingertips or your hand to a block. We're going to twist to our right. So you might have your right hand on your hip. You might reach your right hand up to the sky. We're going to stay grounded with our gaze by looking towards our mat. I'm going to add one more possibility for you here. You can bend your floating leg and reach your right hand to your left toes for a bind if you wish. Or stay in your traditional. Take one more breath. Release your hand down. We're going to step back with our left foot and step back with our right into downward facing dog. Take a breath in your down dog. Options to flow if you choose to flow, or options to take child's pose or stay in down dog. Using your breath as you move through. And we'll all meet back in downward facing dog. Let's move to our second side. Left leg floats up, 3-legged dog. Exhale, step it up between your hands. So we're going to rise in crescent moon first, so stay high on your back toes. Reach to the sky. Exhale your hands through heart center. We're going to play with our balance here. Start by looking at your fingertips. Center your gaze, center the mind. And then you can begin your shift into warrior 3. You might step that back foot up. Oops. And then we slowly reach our fingertips to the floor. Sorry, I gotta step back a little bit. And so this time the right hand grounds on your block or the mat. We begin to twist towards the left. You can keep your gaze ground to your mat. Maybe you reach up to the sky, or maybe you want to play with a bind by bending your floating leg and reaching your hand towards it. One more breath. And as you exhale, release your hand, release your foot back, and step back, downward facing dog. Let's all come down to child's pose for a couple of breaths here, allowing the forehead to ground down on your block or the mat, which really helps us to ground the mind and ground our thoughts. Let's have 2 more breaths here. One more breath. And then use your next inhale to rise to table and your exhale to find down dog.
Take an inhale here. And use your exhale to arrive at the top of your mat. Lifting your heart, lifting your gaze. Exhaling to bow down and inhaling to rise up. Reaching to the sky and drawing into the heart center. And release. Close your eyes, just take a couple breaths in your mountain pose. Draw your awareness inwards. Notice your thoughts. Notice any emotions bouncing about. Notice your breath. You can close your eyes open. We're going to do one or two more balancing poses. And since we have all these beautiful trees all around us, I think we have to do tree pose. So let's start with our left foot. So spreading those left toes wide. See if you can even see space between your toes. See your mat between your toes. And let's just start by, I'm warning you, my balance is not good. Drawing that right knee up. So we're just coming into a very simple standing up an asana. And then externally rotating that leg. Your foot might come to the thigh. It might come to your shin. It might come to your ankle with your toes ground down. Bring your hands to your center. Find your drishtii, that one spot. But let your gaze be soft. Don't let it be rigid. Let it soften and let all the periphery fall away, out of focus. And then we're going to release that leg. And if you can release it out in front of you, we're even going to bring the left hand to the outside of the knee for a revolved balancing pose. Or you're going to fall out of balance. Or bring your hand to your toes and turn into your revolved balance here. So I really position myself in a bad spot. Taking one more breath here. And then slowly releasing out of that pose. Back into your mountain pose. Take a couple breaths in mountain before we do our second side. And let's try that again. So remember, it's not important whether or not you're sticking the balance. It's the act of trying to focus on the balance. That's really what we're looking for, to focus on mind. So spread those right toes wide. And see if you can see space of your mat between your toes. And then bring that left leg up. And then externally rotating to find your spot. Wherever your tree pose is going to be. Finding your drishtii. Let your breath be soft. And then let's see if we can move into our revolved, either hand to knee or hand to big toe. Or one more breath. And then release back into your mountain pose. Take a couple breaths here. And then let's inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. And let's exhale the right foot to the back of the mat. So we're going to start with our foot up for a crescent lunge again. Repetitive poses here that we're doing. And then we're going to bring that right hand across the leg. Your left hand can come to your hip and begin to slide that arm down, coming into your twisted lunge. So you might stack your hands here. You might keep the arms open, or you might keep that hand on your hip. And again, you can gaze at your mat or your front foot.
for one more breath. And we're going to come back up into our lunge. A little bit challenge of our balance. Pivot that back foot down. Release your hands behind your back. We're going to move into humble warrior. So opening the heart center, we fold forward.
Let the top of your head spill towards the earth. Spill all those busy thoughts out of your mind one last time. Steady the breath, and then use your inhale to come back up. Exhale, hands come down. Now let's step forward. I had you upside down a lot. Let's step forward into our forward fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, bow. And let's step back with our left foot for our second side. Last one of our standing poses here. So rising into your crescent moon. And then releasing the left hand across, right hand coming to your hip. Sliding down to whatever depth is appropriate for you. And then your options are to open, to stack the palms, or to keep that hand on your hip where we started. One more breath here. We're going to rise up on an inhale. Pivot the back foot down. So we're in our warrior 2 or warrior 1 position. Intertwine the fingers for humble warrior. So open the heart, lift the heart bone, exhale, fold. Let the top of your head spill down. This helps us to ground our thoughts, ground the busy mind as you ground through both feet. One more breath. And use your inhale to rise up. Release your hands down to the mat, down dog. So this will be your last opportunity for a flow if you wish to flow. Or perhaps you're ready for child's pose. You can do either one of those. If you're flowing, the inhale takes you to plank. The exhale lowers you. The inhale is your choice of back bend. And the exhale back, down dog. Let's all take child's pose for a couple of breaths. Let your forehead be ground down on the mat or perhaps on a block. And when you feel ready, you're going to find your way to a seat. And as you find your way to your seat, you're going to start with your knees bent, and my feet are over to the left side. So what I'm doing here is I've got my left shin resting in the arch of my right foot. And we're going to move into a gentle twist here. So we're going to be twisting towards our right side. My feet are out to the left. We're going to twist to the right. And a couple options for your hand. You can just rest your left hand on your knee, right hand behind you. You can also turn your palm, your fingers so that they're towards your knee, and tuck that under your thigh or your knee. Not a requirement, but it's an option. And then we're simply twisting to the right. Find a spot for your gaze, for your drishtii. And then turn your head so that you look over your left shoulder. So you're turning your head forward. And then a little tilt of the head back. So we're opening up through this side of the neck and shoulder here. Maybe even leaning back, almost like a little back bend here. Find your spot to gaze. Steady your breath. And then unwind. Come to center. Both hands to both knees.
Take a nice big breath. And then let's switch. So switch your feet over to the right side. So your knees are pointing pretty much straight ahead of you. Your right ankle is in your left arch. Same thing as before, you can just bring your right hand to the outside of your knee, or you can tuck your fingers towards your center. Left hand is behind you. So we start by just gently twisting to your left. Soft gaze here. And then slowly begin to turn your head forward to look over your right shoulder. And then you can begin to add dropping your head back a little bit. So we're opening that left side of your neck and adding, if there's space for you, a tiny bit of a back bend here. So it's a twist with a little back bend. One more breath. And then we release, both hands come to both knees. Take a nice inhale and exhale here. We're going to make our way onto our backs for bridge pose. So lying down, we're going to just pause for a moment with both feet ground, hip width apart, and just feel the sensations of your body resting on your mat. Your feet are ground down. The back of your pelvis or your sacrum are ground down, and the back of your head. Just take a moment to become aware of those sensations. The sensation of your breath. Okay, so we're going to move into bridge pose now, and I'm going to give you some options that might provide an opportunity for you to really need to focus in your bridge pose as well. And it's up to you whether or not you take these options. So let's just start by inhaling to lift the hips into bridge, walking your shoulders underneath you to open the heart a little more, and maybe intertwining your fingers underneath your bum. So you can stay right here for the next few breaths if this is feeling good and this is where you want to be. Or walk your feet a little bit closer together toward one another. And then lift your right foot, bend your knee, draw it towards your chest, and reach that foot up to the sky. Take your drishtii to your toes and let everything else fall to the periphery out of focus. One more breath. And bend the knee, bring that foot back down. Let's lower down and then we'll do our second side if you're taking that option. If you didn't take that option, that's okay. You're still going to do a second round of your regular bridge pose. Take a moment to notice sensations in both sides of the body. And then let's go ahead. Second round of bridge. Lifting the hips, grounding through the feet, walking your shoulders under to open the heart. And if you're doing the leg up version, walk your feet closer to one another. Bend the left knee, draw it in. Reach that left foot up to the sky. Gaze at your toes, soft gaze. Let your breath continue to flow. One more breath. And then slowly bend the knee, ground that foot down, and lower all the way down, let your hips ground down. Close your eyes and just pause here. Feel your sacrum settle down onto your mat and feel weighted. And then draw your knees towards your chest. Maybe you want to rock from side to side here.
And we're going to do one last little exercise lying down. And I'm going to turn a little bit so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So knees in towards your chest. Take an inhale and exhale everything out. Release your hands to your side. Your next inhale, reach both feet up to the sky. And as you exhale, bring your legs wide, knees straight. Inhale, bring them back together. Exhale, thighs to your belly, knees bend. So we're going to do that 2 or 3 more times. Inhale, soles of the feet reach to the sky. Exhale, open the legs wide. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, thighs to belly, knees bend. Let's do one last round. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bring the legs wide. Inhale, center. And exhale, thighs to belly. Now you can wrap your arms around your shins again. Maybe rock from side to side. Release the soles of the feet to the mat, knees bent, arms wide, just coming into some gentle windshield washer twists. Using your exhale to let the knees drop, head rolls opposite your knees. Use the inhale to come to center and exhale to the other side. Do a couple more times to each side. Just letting your breath lead the way. And let your last one be to your left side because we started on the right. And then come back to center, pause. And you're going to move into your final Shavasana now. So just go ahead and extend the legs straight. You might want to put on socks or a sweater. You might want to throw a blanket over top. But take a few moments to set yourself up for a nice Shavasana so your body can absorb all the energy that you created through your practice today. And as you begin to settle, bring awareness to the grounding of the body once again. So the awareness of your back of your head resting on your mat. Awareness to your heels, heavy. The back of your pelvis. Back of your hands. Your shoulder blades. It's feeling all those contact points of your body resting on that solid surface beneath you. And then bring your awareness to the soft rise and fall of your breath. You begin to let go of the thoughts through the breath and the work you just did with your body for the last hour. Just let everything settle, the energy, the physical body, the breath, and the thoughts. Gently, like a snow globe, all of those particles of energy and thoughts beginning to settle down, to soften down, and to clear.
as you begin to bring awareness to your breath. Also bring awareness to the sensations of your body right now. Notice if you feel any tingling in the palms of your hands, the soles of your feet. Notice the smoothness of your breath and the weight of your body. Begin to bring some movement into your hands and your feet and your wrists and your ankles. And I'm going to give you an option. You can stay right where you are, perhaps bending your knees and bringing the soles of your feet to your mat. Or you can begin to transition into fetal pose, rolling to your side and making your way up to a seat for our meditation. Either position, either lying on your back with knees bent or seated is fine. Choose where you want to be and make your way there now. If you've chosen to sit up for the meditation, you can sit on your block, a cushion, even in a chair. But as you transition, keep your eyes either closed or softly focused. Face soft, breath soft. And as you settle into this position, this new position, whatever you've chosen, just take a moment to allow the body, particularly the lower body, those parts of you that are in contact with the surface beneath you, to just feel weighted. So perhaps your hands come to your thighs and feel the weight of your hands on your thighs as your hands weight down towards the earth. Feel your sit bones heavy. And as you ground through the physical sensations of your lower body, allow that anchor to allow you to elongate through your spine, to lengthen up. And let the heart lift ever so slightly a little higher. And counter that with your shoulder blades softening down your back. And then bring your awareness to the back of your head, the back of your ears, and draw them up and back ever so slightly. So that now you can feel both grounded and lifted at the same time. And then I'll ask you to let go of the idea that you have to not have any thoughts in meditation. We're actually going to use our thoughts for some self-observation. Let your thoughts arise through the field of consciousness. And notice the mind involved in some kind of narrative. Begin to step back and observe these thoughts without judgment, as though you're observing a movie. Become aware of the content of the movie that's playing inside your head. And as you become aware of the content, become aware of the tone or the mood or the feeling. Just observe without judging, just bear witness. See all the colors, See the characters of this movie playing out in your mind. Become aware of the pace of your thoughts. Perhaps the focus is on a thing or a narrative. Or perhaps it's just jumping from place to place. Just observing without trying to change the channel. And at the same time staying aware of the sensations of the body and the content of the mind. Just continue to sit, stepping back and getting to see the thoughts like a movie. And the focal point is simply the observation of the movie. As you watch this movie, just be aware that you aren't your thoughts, just as you aren't any other part of your body. Your brain is just an organ, and as you can observe your breath, you can step back and enjoy that complex interplay of the brain and the mind at work. Observe the thoughts without identifying yourself with those thoughts. It's just the endless movie playing inside your head. As you stay a few minutes longer, just notice all that brain space doing what it does. And simply sit back and watch the movie. As you become the observer of the phenomenon of thinking and cognition, without overreacting or judging the content, those thoughts become much less powerful, and they no longer have control. So just have these last few moments of quiet. Slowly bring your hands to your heart center. Lower your chin. Take an inhale deeply. And slowly exhale. And you can release your head, open your eyes. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.